noticed that.
Oh, we're live.
Hi, welcome to StockinetteZombies. I'm Amy, also known as Janitma.
And I'm Megan, also known as Just Run It. And this is episode 292, where we're talking about tips and tricks. And it's getting to be well into mid-November. So, yeah, when my mom was trying to talk to me about Thanksgiving before Halloween, I was like, we're really just kind of taking things a week at a time at most, mostly a day at a time. So I think it's really starting, especially here in the Midwest, to really kind of kick in or set in for people that this holiday is probably going to be one celebrated over Zoom with our loved ones, unless you're living with them or you're able to both really, really quarantine.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah, the numbers have gone up in Rochester for sure, our county. But then I also heard that my cousin, her husband actually went into the hospital with it. So,
oh no, I'm so sorry.
yeah, there's a lot of hope that he'll come out today.
Yeah, fairly young fellow, right?
Huh?
A fairly young fellow, right? It's not a significantly older
Yeah,
cousin.
around my age, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Huh. Well, I'm so sorry to hear that. Kind of in the vein of making lemonade out of lemons, we are trying to pull together kind of a recipe exchange for this weekend. I think it would have been fun next weekend too, but I really wanted to give people the opportunity, if they could, to go out and shop and
Right.
make some of these fun things that we're talking about. So the basic premise is that you can, prior to our event on Saturday, so I think I put it at midday on Friday because I got to try to pull all this together, via form that was out in ZK email or out on Discord. You can submit a recipe, a tried and true recipe, right? So something that you've made before, your family has enjoyed, and fill in a few odds and ends, including ingredients. And I added the ability to add a picture because people were asking, can I give you a picture to put in the recipe book? And so you plug all of that in, and then regardless of whether or not you're able to attend on Saturday, you'll get a copy as a collaborator of that recipe book. And then on Saturday, we'll distribute to those who are able to attend on Saturday, and be able to, if you're able to join there, kind of talk about why it's significant to you, right? Your significant. Do you have a dish that you were thinking? So we focused on appetizers, drinks, sides, and desserts. So not the main event.
I don't know. I'd have to put a little bit more thought into it. If we're talking Christmas, we definitely do the kringla in my side of the family. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of really good recipes that we've had that would be good side dishes for a Thanksgiving type meal. There's always, the Watergate salad and other things that are tradition, but I don't know how special they are to our family.
For any of our lip reading friends, I had to mute and tell my Roomba to stop. The vacuum was coming at me. So yeah, I guess I could have just done it if I was going to interrupt the show to say it. But in my family, my mom always makes a cream puff dessert. It's like not cream puffs where you fill it. It's like a pan cream puff. And all growing up in like memorable history, she has made that cream puff dessert for every single family gathering, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, every single family gathering, when we all got together. And then more recently, she started, and I think I've talked about it on the podcast, making what I call, it's a cornbread, like a cheesy cornbread corn dish, but I call it corn crack because it's super addicting. It's super good. And I've looked at like the cream corn and the cornbread, and like I've looked at the sugar content. So I give myself like a super tiny sliver of it when she makes it now. But it's so good. And I have so many good memories involved with putting that on my plate. But I'm
Mhm.
definitely more of a savory gal. Like the cream puff dessert is memorable, but it's not what I'm there for, right? I love the stuffing and I love the that corn crack.
Yeah,
So
I'm trying to think, like, I would say the traditional things that we have in those categories. Yeah, soups, stews, things like that that would be on the side of the turkey main dish.
yep, yep,
And we went non-traditional, traditional, quite a few years ago. My family started just doing lasagna
yep.
for these big gatherings. So um, might also be a potential contender if some people don't consider that the main dish. I don't know. There's a bunch to choose from.
Yeah, absolutely. I added the drink recipe in there because I felt like when we were talking with the Knitmores about stuff, everybody came up with these awesome drink recipes. So my grandma and grandpa, I don't remember if they put alcohol in it or not. That wasn't like something that came into my vision. But they made
Mhm.
this really great punch with sherbet and I think squirt went into it.
Oh,
And again, that was another really great one. I don't know if I'd be able to find the recipe for that. But I'm guessing that some people put a little extra something. I drank the one that was the sherbet was floating on the
mhm.
top and I took a ladle of it. I don't know if they had anything else to it. No, there's
Yeah,
always
no.
a bottle of wine too. So and
Yep.
that doesn't require a recipe. So
We've definitely had mulled wine and ciders at events as well. So there's
yeah.
potential.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see what you come up with and what we talk about on Saturday. Hello, Sarah. Hello, Pam. I called her Pam this time, not Pat.
Okay.
All right. So tips and tricks. I recently cast on a hat that
Mhm.
matches my cardigan. So I had leftovers, a partial skein. And I did, it's going to be the nesting hat, which really loves this kind of colorful motif. And then rather than in the cardigan where you've got the reverse stockinette because it's knit back and forth, then you're not doing any more knitting or purling that you would normally do with a stockinette forward. This features garter. But I got done with it and I was like, what else could I do that would be really nesty? And I decided that I wanted to cast on with my mohair. And so my
Okay.
tip or trick is that mohair held with a fingering is about the same gauge, knits up at about the same gauge. So I've been using the same needle as um, as your DK.
Mhm.
So this hat was knit the same way that this hat was. And then once you start holding mohair double with stuff, it's a rabbit hole for me. This is the Mitchell's Creations Shameless. So if you remember
Oh yeah, which is way
how
brighter.
vibrant that is, look
Yeah.
to it. So this plus this equals this, or I guess I could go like this plus this equals this. But so prior to this, I had done some swatching with like a very variegated base.
Mhm.
And then kind of tried out, some solid mohair to go with it. And you can kind of see what it's done there. I ended up with making my love note with this far one.
Mhm.
Um, and then this was kind of a similar, I just grabbed a bunch of kind of almost swatchy stuff to see how that turns out. And I know a lot of people sell kits where you're combining the mohair that's dyed in the same way as the main color, right? But I think it's really fun to play with the coloring, right? So again, to see how Lola Bean Trolla combines with Mitchell's Creations Shameless to create this hat. So that's kind of a solid with a variegated mohair, and this is um, a variegated base with the solid mohair. Um, and then this one is spun right round leftovers from my linen staple linen top for the Hohi KAL combined with that same Trolla. I just love what it's doing with it. It just makes me so happy. Again, The colors here were very like, and then you combine it with the mohair and silk, and you get
Mm,
this like, oh yeah, I don't know. It's
pretty.
just, yeah, it's super pretty. I'm super loving it. I want to knit all of the mohair. I did grab a skein of Diane Suburban Stitcher uh, DK to knit another sample that isn't with
Mhm.
the fingering and the mohair held double. I'm trying to remember the colorway. It's a really fun name. Mixtape Romance. I bought this at last time we were at ZK
Okay.
in person at the
Yeah.
market. Um, and so, yeah, I'm just absolutely loving the mohair all the time recently. And this, like I said, this was the first time that I've done variegated held with like a solid or with another variegated. Um, I had just been playing around with the solid mohair color and what it was doing.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I mean, the main color doesn't do any variegation, right? So everything that you're seeing there, here, I'll just do like a mush mouth, is all the mohair doing something different, right? So like
Mhm.
the depth of color there. And I think you can kind of see the halo
Mhm.
on the
Oh yeah.
camera. When I hide behind the monitor or the screen, it gets a little darker because I've got natural light coming from the window. But woo, yeah, I mean, for as thin as that feels with that fingering and the mohair hair double, which is like a lace weight, right? It hits real warm. It's a lot warmer than the DK.
Right.
So,
Right. No,
um,
I've been definitely eyeballing my mohair for a love note.
mhm,
But at this point, I'm almost like tempted to just wait and cast on in January because
yep.
that'll be KL fantastic for
Mhm.
our retreat. So,
I have been hearing a lot of that in the ZKN,
Mhm.
VKNs, right? Like I'm
Right.
holding off on that. Like it won't get a designer bonus, but the yarn
Well,
will
absolutely.
definitely count. So,
Yep.
um, but yeah, you were going to hold two colors that were the same colorway together, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So again, and I really like how this ended up dyeing up. I have like a little BB-8 going on here because it was
You
so
do.
slippery. The inside came out. But it's got a really nice like sheen and it just gives it like a ephemeral feel, I guess.
Yeah, I really like the pink hat, the shameless hat.
Yeah. No, it was fun. It was fun. I do feel like this nesting motif really likes the variegated, like it really pops a lot more. But it's a nice hat for sure. It'll keep a hat warm. Similarly, if you don't have any mohair, you can generally get a gauge, use the same needles and get a similar gauge by holding two strands of fingering double. So that mohair at a lace weight has that halo, which makes it, I think, knit up at a higher gauge.
Mhm.
And then if you just use two strands of fingering that with no mohair, it generally is roughly about the same gauge as a DK. So
Yep, I did that with some singles for a sweater
mhm.
once. Very squishy and awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's a fun way to, again, if you wanted to kind of like change colors, right? Like
mm,
have it fade as it were, right? Yeah.
right, right. Marling, fading. Yeah.
Yep. Marling fading for sure, for sure.
Yeah. So I don't really have a good tip. I was looking at all the things that I was currently doing and I'd shared them in previous the weighing of your yarn and I had recently split a ball to get the exact grams for my sleeves so that I
Hmm.
could knit my maximum yardage. I'm also using my markers, like, oh, there's two markers hanging down here, so that must mean I only have two more repeats and
Yep.
kind of thing. Um, but I did want to kind of do a reverse tip. Um, Thinking about all of our recipes and cooking, people have been asking me like, "Oh, what do you want for Christmas? What do you want for Christmas?" And the only thing that like piqued my curiosity recently was an air fryer.
Mm,
It's basically like a tiny convection oven, from what I understand.
yep.
But does anybody have one? Do you use it? What do you use it for? So I see Megan's got her hand up.
Yes, it's a running joke in my family that Jeremy will try to find anything to try to air fry. We make quesadillas in the air fryer. We get like fresh vegetables and he puts them in the air fryer. And then just like normal stuff that you would normally fry, right? Like French fries or somebody was saying that they make a lot, they and their kids at work make a lot of hash browns in their air fryer. Yeah, no, I think we have almost worn out our existing one.
Okay.
Because every single meal has something that's air fried in it. Yeah.
Do you have the 2-quart or like a 5-quart?
I think it's a 5-quart. It's ginormous. It's got this big handle that you stick into the machine. But I've been seeing, again, you're probably not in the market for an oven. It would be really interesting to, if anybody crowdsourced that information as well, has gotten one of the oven air fryers. But I've been seeing advertisements about air fryer ranges, right? Like ovens, where that's like something that you can do in it. So the thought has crossed my mind that Jeremy could really deal with it. Guy loves to air fry.
Okay. So we've got an endorsement from Jeremy.
Yes. And I eat the food and love it. So broccoli, air fried broccoli is one of my favorites. Like so much better than mushy broccoli. Yeah.
Right. But is it just like roasting broccoli, right? Like in an oven? Is that basically what it is? Okay.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's crispy. It doesn't get mushy
because
it feels like it keeps the air moving, right?
Yeah.
So it kind of like dehydrates and cook and roasts at the same time, I guess. I don't
know. I mean, when I roast, they get pretty crispy because, it depends on how you set up your oven and when you put the broccoli in. But yeah, I could see that being a good one. Yep. And we definitely have French fries, and if the air fryer is quicker, that would be nice. It also allows us to use the oven for one thing and not have that weird tiered thing where it doesn't seem to cook the same way. But okay, so reverse tip, because I have been thinking about them. It's about that Christmas, present price point, and I am curious about them. I do love my Instapot electric pressure cooker. That's really good, and we've used that a lot. So
we had a question about the email saying whether or not I'm trying to just figure out whether or not I finger checked it about the recipe event being the 14th. Yep, it should have been the 24th and not the 14th. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So yep. It should be the 24th. Is that right?
That's a Wednesday.
The 24th?
I think.
No, 21st. I totally finger checked it. It just didn't get updated. It's a week late. Anyway, I can send an update on that, and thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Yes. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Yep. So super excited about the recipe event. Also, we had Cece come and speak to us last weekend. She was totally enchanting. I filled up a cart and then slept on it because I was like, do I need this much yarn? But your last chance to get the pickle yarn is the 20th.
Yeah. I actually filled a cart with the Corriedale and then emptied the cart and put in just one skein of that and the pickle yarn that I wanted.
Such restraint.
Yeah, just so that I could test it. Okay, I'm gonna knit something else with this yarn and see if I want a whole sweater of it. I'm pretty sure I will, but I was, hitting that trigger was hesitating. So
yeah, no, I had a similar experience. Between the two of us, we had 4 cards apparently. So I ordered the pickle yarn, and then I picked out yarn to make my mom a nesting cardigan in one of the worsted yarn babies, which is very similar to the DK weight yardage per grams in the pattern, if not almost exactly. So it must be kind of a light worsted. And I put that in a separate cart, hoping that she would ship that out before she dyed all of the pickle yarn. Yep, yeah. So that'll be in future favorite things, probably.
Yes, I definitely have been squishing on this lovely yarn baby in the pickle juice.
Yep, yep.
And I
So
need
I
more.
finished I finished the shell of my Weekender Light, and now I'm waiting to get the yarn for the sleeves because Amy was correct. I could not finish the sleeves with the one
I like
yarn.
hearing that.
You love hearing that you're right. I know. I told Jeremy, I was like, it's really gonna pain me to admit that.
Oh, that's okay. I feel like, at work I'm not as right, or well,
Mhm.
I shouldn't say that. It's not necessarily me. Feels like there's a lot of I don't know, bad juju from Friday the 13th
Oh.
that's coming due Monday, Tuesday here. But
Yeah, I don't know. I just know that like recently yarn has felt like it was endless in those huge skeins, right? So I think I just had had gotten lulled into like, oh yeah, totally going to be able to knit this whole thing with one skein.
oh, those patterns that I was looking at for the Corriedale, and I was looking at them and going, oh, these are so gorgeous. And I was looking at the yardage and I'm like, oh my gosh, I should have this in my stash already, but I do not. I
No.
am like a skein shy on every sweater's quantity that I own. Well, except for I think that I'm okay with the yarn babies I got, but I don't want to make a brown one. That's reserved for something.
Okay.
But yeah,
Well, I'm going to remember to say the oofta at the end because if you're ever in a trivia, and I think our group would be the only people asking about this kind of trivia, but episode 291 was the only episode where I believe I've been told that I did not say bye oofta. So
there could have been some early ones. I mean, somebody will
once
prove
I
us
said it, I
wrong.
said it on every single one. I swear, I feel like I don't know what I was thinking of last time, but apparently I was just really getting into the computer stuff and was just like, bye.
All right, bye.
Bye, oofta.